As a teacher, parent, or carer, have you ever been in a situation where a child or a student is presenting challenging behaviour and there is a need to decipher the underlying cause? How can we use a formal behaviour analysis on a student with severe disability? Student behaviour can be very stressful to deal with and can be a very emotional experience for their fellow students. The AITSL Standard 1.6 Strategies to Support Full Participation with Students with Disability states that a proficient level teacher should be able to design and implement teaching activities that support the participation and learning of students with disability and address relevant policy and legislative requirements. As professionals, these challenging behaviours are our responsibility.
The following presentation has been created to assist the people involved in supporting students with moderate to severe disabilities. We will be discussing using the Motivational Assessment Scale, or MAS, as a tool for deconstructing the needs of students who struggle with challenging behaviour as a result of their idiosyncrasies.
The Motivational Assessment Scale, or MAS, is an indirect assessment tool that helps the user acquire the function or motivation behind challenging behaviour.
While it is not recommended to only use MAS to do a functional assessment, it can be a great first step towards determining the underlying causes of behavioural issues. To begin gathering information, the user must identify a specific behaviour. For example, student sluts other children names a specific behaviour, whereas student is aggressive may be too broad for MAS to be used successfully. MAS is not used to label a child or make assumptions based on their behaviour. It is used to identify behaviours individual to the child.
The following case study was conducted by T.R. Poklowski and others. 13 participants were involved, each with a diagnosed intellectual disability. The study also included their carers. The participants displayed behavioural issues, but each individual had targeted behaviours which covered self-injury, tantrums both verbal and physical, aggression, and stereopathy. After informing the parents, each participant was included in an analysis involving 4 different stimuli: attention, demand, tangible, and alone and ignore. Data was collected in intervals as they were exposed to each stimuli. The data from a control group was also collected. The researchers then used behaviour rating scales to assess each participant's individual needs. Following this, MAS was used to identify the root of behavioural issues. As a result of this, carers were able to put into place strategies for supporting students with challenging behaviour according to their specific triggers and needs.
Teachers and educators use MAS to support students who are exhibiting challenging behaviour. In order to successfully implement this strategy, a specific behaviour must be isolated in order to be addressed. In the initial stages of undertaking a formal functional analysis, students and families must be notified. Once consent is acquired, information must be collected from families, past teachers, and any other relevant parties involved with the child. This information should outline the behaviours the student is exhibiting in all aspects of their lives. With the accumulation of data, behaviours are prioritised and narrowed down to one focus area. Upon this decision being made, the educator will observe the student over a period of time with a focus on their chosen challenging behaviour. It may be useful to record some anecdotal notes throughout this section of the process. At this stage, the educator can reflect upon these observations by answering 16 MAS questions. The questions are designed simply and are to be answered with only the one chosen behaviour in mind. Once the questions have been answered, the scores can be determined and will indicate the motivation behind the behaviour out of the 4 options. This allows the educator to determine the next step in addressing the behaviour. For example, the educator could develop a personal behaviour plan, which would outline strategies for supporting the student. This should be done in consultation with families and other faculty involved with the student. It should be noted that this is only a part of the functional analysis. There are other strategies that can be used.
MAS as part of a behaviour plan is almost essential as it targets the motivating factors for challenging behaviour. This is positive as it can identify possible triggers and draw attention to potential discrepancies in emotional development. It's a simple tool to use and its design is straightforward, which ensures that it is universally accessible. The results are easily communicated to participants, families, and other stakeholders. MAS can be limited in the results produced. There are only 4 potential motivators for behaviours, and it is possible for 2 or even 3 motivators to be equal. This makes it difficult to prioritise for educators attempting to support their students' needs when there are more than one to consider. Students can also have other factors to consider, for example, an unidentified issue at home that can cause stresses in their behaviour. Additionally, challenging behaviours are often multifaceted, meaning that it would be difficult to prioritise which behaviours to focus on. It would also be a lengthy process to subsequent attempts.
In summation, MAS can be a useful tool if implemented correctly. However, if applied in the wrong context, there could be a detriment to student behaviour. While there are many positives to using this model, there is a need for constant reassessing.
Some behaviours may take a long time to improve. However, it is an important step towards self-determination to stick with the plan and achieve a positive outcome. It is also important for students to never feel out of their comfort zone and never feel like they are bad children because of their behaviour. Patience and respect is essential